A deadly shooting in the suburbs.
Caller says that they have shot the suspect.
The chilling recordings leading up to a violent morning in a Tigard neighborhood.
In the last home in Paradise, armed with a hose and a little Beethoven, the desperate last stand a California homeowner took to save his house as the wildfire swept in.
You're either going to do it or get the hell out of here.
And we verify whether an email from the state of Oregon claiming your data was compromised needs to be taken seriously.
Plus, our exclusive interview with the man accused of running down 3 women on the PSU campus.
I guess I just lost it.
And a patriotic makeover on Hawthorne Boulevard.
And I just love flags.
The local woman who made it her mission to honor those who serve. KGW News at 6 starts now. We start at 6 with a man killed in a Tigard neighborhood. Thank you for being with us. I'm Laurel Porter.
And I'm Dan Haggerty. Police say that the homeowner shot and killed this man, tried to get into his house, and now dispatch audio is revealing the intruder climbed a fence into the backyard. Listen here.
Suspect was trying to get in the house on the Sage Terrace call. Caller says that they have shot the suspect.
KGW's Devin Haskins is live for us in Tigard. And Devin, you've now learned the intruder's name.
Correct, Laurel. Police identified him as a 41-year-old Jose Luis Gonzalez Jr. They also say that the two knew each other. Dispatch audio gives a little more info into their relationship, and the homeowner had told dispatchers that Gonzalez had been stalking him. He also told dispatchers Gonzalez climbed over the homeowner's tried to break in, and that happened around just after 7 o'clock this morning. That's when he was shot and killed. That's when he shot and killed Gonzalez in the backyard. Now, why he did this, police say they don't know. And those that live here say this neighborhood has always been a quiet one.
You wouldn't want anything happen to anyone, or if they knew him or if they didn't know him, but as a neighbor, it does give you some comfort in knowing that it wasn't just a stranger that broke into someone's home. So I feel sorry for everyone, but it's nice. It is a little bit comforting to know that maybe there was something else that happened.
The homeowner's 2 teenage daughters were also home at the time, but they were unhurt. The homeowner has been cooperating with police since the shooting. Detectives, they're still investigating, and they still want to know if anybody saw anything or knows anything. So they're asking for any witnesses to come forward, or if you have security cameras here in this neighborhood that may have seen something, they want to talk to you. Back to you.
All right, Devin, thank you so much. Now on to what was a day of terror for the PSU campus. You might remember it was back in May. A man in an SUV jumped the curb, ran down 3 women on the sidewalk.
And that led to an hours-long manhunt across Portland. The suspect, Greg Porter, was arrested in a different part of the city with Sky 8 cameras rolling. Now that suspect is talking exclusively to KGW investigative reporter Kylie Boshi.
Kyle joins us now. Kyle, Porter told you, how'd he put it? He said he just lost it that day.
Indeed, I spoke with Porter by phone. He allowed us to record our conversation. He declined to go into specifics about his case, but he shed new light on his background, including claims of a troubled marriage, financial problems, and depression.
Yeah, it's loud here, and they're listening.
In a phone interview with KGW, 61-year-old Greg Porter described what led up to a crash on the Portland State University campus in May. Porter is pleading not guilty to attempted aggravated murder for driving his SUV on the sidewalk, hitting and badly injuring 3 women. Court records indicate he didn't know them.
The day that this happened, I guess I just lost it, because then I called the bank and I'm $200 in the hole, and problem after problem after problem.
Porter said he moved to Oregon from Texas a little over a year ago. He'd fallen on hard times and was recovering from serious injuries after trying to take his own life, and had separated from his wife.
We were married for 38 years. She more or less turned on me. Said she loved me one minute, next minute she said she hated me, and next minute she said she loved me, and this went on for weeks and weeks.
Before the crash, Porter said he spent the morning at a park in southeast Portland. He'd been sleeping there, inside his blue Mazda Tribute.
In the car, because the back seat lays down and I could sleep in there.
I see. Did you have all your belongings in the car?
Yes, sir.
During our conversation, Porter made several statements that clearly sounded delusional. Yesterday, a judge ordered that he be sent to the state hospital for examination to determine if he can aid and assist in his own defense and help his lawyers prepare for trial. Back to you.
Thank you, Kyle. Now to a big setback for Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler. His proposed crackdown on potentially violent protests was voted down in council today. City commissioners argued his plan was too broad, unnecessary, and could even land them in legal trouble. KGW's Maggie Vespa joins us now. Maggie, despite all that, the vote was pretty close.
Laurel, it was. The vote was 3-2, and Commissioner Nick Fish was the surprise and, as you know, final nail in the coffin here. Until today, he'd remained publicly undecided on this issue. That said, it appears this conversation may not be over.
I agree that something must change. However, this is not an issue that can be solved by policing alone.
The proposed ordinance is not an accurate reflection of who we are as a city. I cannot support this ordinance.
3 no votes. And with that, Mayor Ted Wheeler's proposed and highly publicized protest ordinance is stopped dead in its tracks. The mayor wanted the ability to decide the time and place and cap the attendance, among other things, of protests led by groups who have been violent or state they will be.
We need to do something.
Among the 3 dissenters, some commissioners argued current laws are enough to stop violent protests. All 3 had concerns about the constitutionality of the ordinance, and they worried it would be challenged in court.
Any limits on the rights of free speech and public assembly protected in our state and federal constitution are subject to heightened legal scrutiny. In general, government must establish that those limits are a last resort.
A stance echoed by the American Civil Liberties Union of Oregon, who heard about the mayor's hopeful crackdown after the ordinance was drafted.
We should be very, very careful about how we proceed on something like this, because if we do the wrong thing, other places are going to look to us as an example and then follow our lead.
Nevertheless, they said they'd be willing to work with the city on tweaking protest tactics moving forward.
We're trying to do this very difficult balancing act, balance the First Amendment rights of people who want to demonstrate in our community with the rights of other people to go about their daily business and not see the rolling fistfights that we've seen in recent weeks.
Now, Police Chief Danielle Outlaw also said that she wants to work with others on protest tactics, tweaking those tactics moving forward. And speaking of today, we heard rumblings of a protest possibly planned for this weekend. Both the mayor's office and the police bureau say they are still gathering info on that. We'll keep you posted.
Thanks,
Back
Maggie.
to you.
We know you keep an eye on it for us. Appreciate it. Now to an update on a heroic Greyhound bus driver. He's getting some closure now after the man who stabbed him while he was driving a busload of people was sentenced to prison. Let's go to Brian Brennan. He joins us live downtown. Brian, the driver telling you just wanted to see some justice served here.
That's right. You know, Clint Lawson wouldn't go as far as saying he agreed with the sentence, but he did say he is happy that his attacker will have some time to think about his actions. Lawson's actions might have saved the lives of dozens of people. Robert Moran Vasquez appeared in court Wednesday ready to take a plea deal. He's accused of stabbing a Greyhound bus driver in the neck last November. They were traveling at highway speeds with 28 people on board.
I didn't even know I was cut until I had pulled over and a pastor told me, "You're bleeding from your neck really bad." I didn't even know. And then I looked down and I saw what had happened.
Somehow, driver Clint Lawson was able to hold on to the wheel. Court documents say Vasquez told detectives he was high on meth and wanted the bus to crash.
And I just wanted to get that bus pulled over, get Mr. Vasquez off board, and just try to save everybody that I could.
Lawson says he still has nightmares about that day, so he wanted to be in court to get some closure. Vasquez pled guilty to assault and reckless endangerment. He was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison. But before sentencing, the judge thanked Lawson for his heroism.
Your actions on that bus that day demonstrated that you are a hero. You saved the lives of at least 28 people that day.
Lawson says he's grateful to the judge and to the other men who helped get Vasquez off the bus.
I feel real good about that. I'm glad that he took the time to do that for me.
How do you feel about the other 2 men who jumped in to help you?
I'm very grateful to them too. They helped and it could have been a lot worse.
He hopes he can now move on while Vasquez serves his time. The judge also told Vasquez if it wasn't for Lawson's heroic actions, Vasquez could have easily ended up spending the rest of his life in prison. Back to you.
Well, you can tell how traumatic it was for him. We thank him for what he did. Thank you, Brian.
Interview with that bus driver. Great work there.
Do you need to worry about an email warning that your personal information might be compromised?
Yeah, our investigators have been getting a lot of calls and messages about this, and apparently it looks pretty legit. It claims to be from the state of Oregon. It was sent out to a lot of people, to about 160,000 people. So KGW investigative reporter Kristen Severance is here now to verify if you should take this thing seriously. Kristen.
Yeah, so we started looking into this after we were contacted by several viewers. They all received an email claiming to be from the Oregon Department of State Lands. So the email goes on to say the personal information of anyone who has used the state's unclaimed property website could be at risk. The state then offers to pay for free identity theft protection services, but the letter's return address is in Ohio and the email was sent from something called IDExpertsmail.com. So everyone wanted to know, is this legit or is this a scam? Well, we can verify this was in fact sent from the state. So we called the state. A spokesperson told us the risk was uncovered back in October during a cybersecurity scan. The letter was sent to all 166,000 people who entered their social security number on the unclaimed property site. The spokeswoman said that there's nothing to suggest that any personal information was in fact taken. So we can verify, although honestly you do have to take a double take on this. Yeah. It is legitimate. People's information was compromised. The state is offering free identity protection services.
Oh, it's good people are so careful though in calling and checking it out.
Exactly. It's good that people did a double take, and it does look a little strange, but it's all good. It's all legitimate.
Hard to take anything seriously on face value nowadays, Kristen.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You.
Appreciate it. So it is that time of year. How about guns this year for Christmas? Yeah, coming up next, the Wisconsin company gifting employees some firearms for the holidays. And we want to get your take on this in our KGW viewer voice poll.
Gone so soon? Why, come Tuesday, you may not see any e-scooters on the streets of Portland, and maybe never again.
And you know what else is gone? The rain, such as it was, which wasn't very much. We've got another dry spell that is beginning now. We'll talk morning fog, air quality, and the run-up to Thanksgiving.